Haere mai e te whānau. Welcome to the Flight of the Next podcast. My name's Holly. I'm on Gadigal land in Sydney, as is Danny, and Erin is in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. We had 2 wins. We had a great 6-pointer weekend. Awesome to see. We will start with our women who played against Sydney FC. That was at Leichhardt Oval. There was a fantastic attendance there from the little corner of yellow. For those of you who may not have seen, there was a wonderful post-match photo where the team came and Amy Dunneely took a selfie of the team and then the crowd in behind. It was a great moment. It was a great win. We did have Pia Vlock back after her concussion during international duty. She was our player of the match. She was just gets better and better, with Brooke Nunn a close second because she got a goal and an assist as well. No Macy Fraser. It sounded like she was just sort of not at the stage where she was travelling yet. I'm not quite sure what that was. The word reintegration was used. So either way, we hope Macy's back for maybe the Wanderers game or Adelaide. Sydney started quite quickly. Obviously, we had that 7-0 thumping last time. Shout out to Simon from Victory Vikings, who showed up with a T-shirt that was printed with 7-0 on it. She went and walked past the Cove with the Cove. Very poor turnout from the Cove. We outnumbered the Cove very, very comfortably. Anyway, Sydney got cracking early. There's a wide ball, Talon Henniker, and Marisa Vandermeer holds her up for a bit, and then she cuts back in, and Mania Elliott just sort of runs in but doesn't actually get in between her. So she just takes a couple of touches around both of them. It's a nice strike. And they were obviously very stoked to have scored that goal. Thankfully, we were only looking at 9 or 10 minutes until we equalised. That was the 12th. Pia Vlock. So Pynenberg plays this wide ball to Nunn, and Nunn just waits. And you could see on the broadcast too that like Bev is yelling at Pia, go, make a run. And Nunn just waits. And then she does this lovely dink that just sort of drops right and bounces right in front of where Vlock is running in. And instead of trying to go like putting her laces through it or something like that, she just sort of like opens her hips and like plays the ball with the inside of her foot to the direction that you wouldn't expect. It was a really clever, tidy finish. There were some great saves by Essen in this period as well. I think Sydney they were very threatening on the counter, and with the long balls we struggled. Thankfully, Lookmeyer had a really bad game, because otherwise they could have potentially scored. 64th minute, so we're into the second half and we start to get back into it. And Marisa Vandermeer just from a corner. Mania Elliott plays in the corner. Marisa just jumps the highest. It was really, really good to see. 5th, we pulled ahead with a goal from Brooke Nunn. I have to say that the great assist with a tidy finish was reversed this time. It was Pia Vlock. She's got the ball on the left and she looks up, and I think she's going to play across, and she plays a really long ball. And I turned to Mike and I'm just like, she's wasted that. Like, she's massively overhit that cross. But no, she'd looked up and she'd seen Brooke Nunn as a switch all the way on the other side of the penalty box. So she plays this beautiful ball over that drops for Brooke. Obviously, Brooke has to do a couple of touches and put in a nice shot, but it was really cool to see sort of the vision that both of them had for each other. Basically, yeah, that's the most of it. I think we struggled a little bit with those long balls from Sydney FC, but nothing really came of it, and we got the win in the end. Good stuff. 3-1. Danny, you were there at Leichhardt Oval. How'd you find it?
It was a great result and a really good turnout, as you say, by Phoenix fans here in Sydney. As you say, certainly active-wise, we outnumbered the City fans by quite a long way. Cove kept singing all sort of 12 of them. I mean, fair play to them. But and they haven't had a lot to sing about this season. Sydney are not doing very well. But actually, they were, I think, by far the better side in the first half. We were pretty poor in that first half, as poor as we've seen this, and they were causing us a lot of problems. Long balls into space down there where our wing-backs would be, so into the space where Mania Elliott would be, or in the space where Brooke Nunn would be, because we're pushing up, because we're attacking side, and we really struggled with it. They had some fast forwards. Talon Henniker's first goal was an excellent goal. Really, really good goal. Got the pace, went past 2 players, and a really good shot across Vic Essen. And we looked like we were kind of get pumped, to be perfectly honest. They had 2 or 3 chances that Vic Essen saved or they stuffed up. They could have had 3 goals in that first half. In fact, they should have had 3 goals in the first half quite easily. The fact that we came out in the second half and then they didn't do that again tells me that Bev Priestman did something. I'm not exactly sure what she did. Maybe we just defended a little bit deeper, but they never managed to trouble us again. But it was worrying. Half time, I was thinking we're going to lose this, and we deservedly so. But we just have that many better players than Sydney have. And when you've got someone like Pia Vlok, who is just a complete cheat code. I mean, it's just, you just give her the ball and she just like, okay, just go do it. Just so much better than everybody else on the pitch, just at a different level. Just amazing to see. And then, obviously, she's backed up by many other very good players. Well, Brooke Nunn, who would be easily the player of the season, I think, if it wasn't for someone like Pia Vlok. Excellent down the right. The pass she saved for the goal was class, and she had many other attempts, and probably, Michaela would have had a couple if she hadn't been just slightly offside or, other things just gone their way. And that's even in the first half where I said, we were pretty poor. And in the second half, it was just all us, basically. I think the substitution that Bev Priestman did, she brought off 2 players, as in bringing off Michaela Wood, who wasn't happy to go off, by the way. That was quite interesting to see. She stood there and stared as the third number came up and didn't move for a good 20, 30 seconds until she finally came off, and no smiling, no dancing, no jiggling like she normally would do. She wasn't happy at all. I saw her and Bev Priestman have a long talk afterward, and it all seemed to be perfectly fine after that, but she wasn't happy. And I can see why she wasn't happy. She'd done nothing really wrong. She'd worked really hard, continuing to work hard, but it just wasn't coming off for her. But bringing on Mackenzie Anthony and Zoe Benson as well, for Lucia Leon, who had tired quite obviously in the second half, I thought was a good move. In fact, I was surprised it didn't happen at half-time. But it really injected a bit of pace into our front line, a bit of more energy into our front line again. And from then, we were just dominating them. Pia Vlok were playing excellently, Brooke Nunn as well. And by then, it was just a matter of how many goals we would score. And we got 2. Good goal from a corner, Van der Meer, and then, as you say, a huge crossfield pass from Pia Vlok to Nunn, who took it down perfectly, one step, and then across the goal, really good shot. And it was 3-1, and, any worries we may have had at half-time, not worried about this team. The class will out eventually, and that's what happened against Sydney. As I said, did really well in the first half, but they just don't have the players like we have the players. It's not really their fault. But, good win. We don't win too many away from home, but that was comprehensive and just, really, really good to watch.
Someone needs to check the stats of when the last time we got 6 points 2 weekends in a row was, because I feel like it hasn't happened in a while, or if ever. Getting 12 points over 2 weekends is, I don't know, I think rare for a Phoenix fan. So it feels odd. I feel like we've never been in this position before, but it feels good. And especially to get a win from this game, I think, watching that first half, I thought we'd completely bottled it. I was like, here we go. This is our Phoenix away form, not being able to perform against the worst team in the league, and a team that also was missing 2 key players as well. Riley Tanner and Willa Pearson were both out on suspension. So I think, from the start, that's going to be another 7-8-0 thrashing. They're even weaker from the last time we played them, but that wasn't the case. They came out, all credit to them, they came out firing, and they did put us under pressure early, a 3-minute goal. And as the comms were saying, we have never won a game when we've gone behind this season. So that was concerning because, we need the whole 3 points to keep our title race alive. Then we got the equaliser, and I thought, hey, we're back. We can get something from this game. Then the second half came around, and we absolutely dominated them in the second half. I'm not sure what they had in their drink bottles at halftime, but they came out absolutely firing and knew that they had a point to prove. And second half, Sydney only got 1 shot away the whole game. We dominated them in basically every single stat in that second half, showing that, I guess, against a tiring team, or even our bench power, incredibly, incredibly strong across the whole pitch. And, there's not really much you can do to stop us. If you try to stop us going one way with Brooke Nunn, we've got Pia Vlok on the other side. And if you try to stop her, we've got Michaela Woods through the middle. And so I think, we're in this situation now where we just have very high quality players across the entire pitch, which makes a difference. I think in the previous seasons, we've kind of had 1 or 2 stars who if you mark them out of the game, we kind of struggle to get anything done. But I think we're so well-rounded now that, we can fight to get these points. And yeah, I think a good result in the end. I think, 3-1 after that start, I think is a really good result.
I think we have to give a lot of it down to Beth Priestman as well. I mean, the players were very good, obviously, and they are excellent players, but, she saw a problem. Well, we all saw a problem. She fixed it in the second half. And then, she brought on substitutions, which were not the obvious ones you would have chosen where to go. Yeah, Lucia Leon coming off, you probably think, yeah, that's fair enough. And you think Anthony on for her, but no, she brought on Benson for Leon. Mackenzie Anthony played up front instead of Michaela Wood. So not the obvious substitutions, but they really worked. They really changed team rounds. I think a lot of the credit for this victory has got to go to Beth Priestman. It shows having that kind of quality of coach can really change matches. It's not just about the players. Helps, but if you've got a good coach, they can actually change matches as well.
Yeah, that willingness to change and to make changes like at the right time as well. I mean, we will talk about when the timing of the subs came in the men's game, because I felt like that was a little bit different. Yeah, Bev seems pretty happy to just sub people off and on at halftime, and I was surprised to see Benson a little bit, because she's really only, I feel like, had 10 or 20 minutes here and there up until this point. So to see her play so much more is quite good. She actually had the ball in the back of the net at the 60th, but was offside. She was definitely offside. So she was getting stuck in, which was really good to say. I feel like that first half wasn't quite as bad as maybe you felt it was, Danny, to say, oh no, we're going to get pumped. For me, it was like, no, we're going to lose like 1-0 or 2-0 was what I was worried about. But yeah, you're right. They could have had more goals. In fact, their XG was 1.57. Ours was only 1.8. So, but like they did have some good chances. I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know if anyone saw on the online the Sydney FC coach going off when Vic Essen had her sit down. So I don't know whether it was heard on the live broadcast. I assume it was, but he was going off like, she's got the whiteboard out before the keeper even sits down. She does it every week. This is cheating. It's kind of interesting when you have those pitch side mics, and sometimes I hear stuff like coaches saying stuff that's just rubbish or disrespectful to the referee. But I have to say that I'd like to think that our coaches would say the same thing if it was the opposition doing that. Did anyone else listen to that?
I saw it get mentioned, and so I heard it. It was in clips on social media, and he's not wrong. It was completely strategic, and I think the interview with Ellie Walker that you did earlier in the week, she, hands up, yeah, this is strategic. But again, it's not like Sydney FC wouldn't do it. All teams do it. That's just the way of the world now. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm not sure how they're going to fix this. I know FIFA or Arthur had a meeting in the last couple of weeks, and this was discussed, but they haven't found a way to effectively stop teams doing it, while still taking into account that a goalkeeper could be genuinely injured, and you can't really take a goalkeeper off for 30 seconds because that will just completely change the game. So it's sort of a feature of the modern game at the moment. If everyone else did it and we didn't, I'd be a bit disappointed. I don't know what the solution is. I'm sure they'll come up with something at some point.
They did actually potentially bring something in as IFAB, but I actually have to look at goalkeeper talk. Oh my God, sorry, I probably should. They have to sit. One was that they have to sit out for 1 minute, and the team with 10 players have to nominate one outfield player to play in goal, which just seems like way, way too hard.
I think I also saw that if there was a goalkeeper injury, the players have to wait in the centre circle or something, so that they can't actually go to the sideline to chat to the coaches or anything like that. They have to wait in the little huddle in the middle to stop the tactics.
That would stop it. Yeah, that would be a very effective way to put an end to it. Obviously, it's a rule that would have to be introduced in the next season, but actually that rule makes a lot of sense. And, if you do it with both teams as well, then it would be fair. That would cut that out. And actually, I would, as much as I know we take advantage of it, I would be happy in terms of like the game of football and the spirit in which it's played if that was changed. Next up, we'll touch on that Wednesday. That is our midweek match. That was a catch-up from a November game. It's against Mariners. It is away at Central Coast Stadium in Gosford. Please, if you can make it, come and join us. The local kickoff is 7 p.m, 9 p.m. New Zealand time. That's our third to last game. We're 6 points behind City with 2 games in hand. We absolutely have to keep winning matches. We have lost all 5 of our previous encounters with Mariners. I was kind of hoping that this weekend that Izzy Gomez would get a red card or Avani Prakash would get a red card. It didn't happen, unfortunately. Huge game. Huge game. Danny, you will be there. What are your thoughts?
You're right, it's going to be a huge game, and we can't afford to not be on it from minute one like we did against Sydney, because Central Coast will not let us off the hook like Sydney did to some extent. It doesn't mean we haven't got the ability. We have. The team has stayed over here, so that little camp hopefully should be quite good for them. I think it's just going to be an excellent game. I'm just really looking forward to it. If I was a neutral, this would be a game I would definitely be watching. We've never beaten Central Coast. It's a horrible stat. So my money's on us to do it. I just think Bev Priestman is just sort of a winner, and I think she puts that through to the team. And I think they just really, they've seen the side of the summer, they've seen the sight of the title there, and then now you have to win this for us to have any chance really of winning the title. So I think we'll do it. I think we'll win. It'll be tight though, but it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think we have the benefit of being in the area before Central Coast. They've just made the trip to Perth. They played on Saturday night, and they have to turn around and get back to the Central Coast to play on Wednesday. That's a very tough schedule for them. It's, we historically have a bad away form, but we're already there. We're ready to go, and we're rested, and we're, so I think we've actually got the benefit of the doubt here for our away game, which is great. And also, fun fact, but after our win, we were actually top of the table in away games. So we had the best away form in the league until City's win, but that's an incredible stat, knowing that we were probably the bottom for every single season of our existence. And so it's just kind of showing that, we have fixed up our away form, and even for games that we haven't been the best, we've just had the players good enough to push through it. And so hopefully we can take that through and, take on Central Coast Mariners. There's a lot at stake in this game, our chance at the title, and they're still fighting for a chance in the top 6. And so no team's going to go down without a fight. And I think there's a lot of fight in both of these teams. So it's going to be a really, really good game. But I just have to say that we're going to win this. And I believe that we will win every single game from here on out, because we can't actually afford to lose one. So I'm backing the team to win them all and win the league.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, if you can't turn up, then tune in. After that, we will have our remaining home game of the season, which is against Wanderers. So that will be this coming week. Actually, we should discuss the Wanderers game as well. Wanderers, okay, not so much to say there. We beat them comfortably last time. We should beat them again, I hope. It would be a real shit show if we were to drop the ball on one of the bottom teams. Was there anything else to say about Wanderers? Show up to the Wanderers game if you can make it.
I really backed the Wanderers to beat City. I really thought that they'd be able to do it twice in one season. They had them down to 10 players, and then they just were bad and just not really enjoyable to watch either. I'd feel sorry for anyone who's a Western Sydney fan, because that was not a pretty match to watch. And, we really needed them to do us a solid and steal some points from City, but they didn't manage that. But yeah, I imagine that we should comfortably get a win at home against this Western Sydney team with, both the league title and the Sister City Cup on the line. I don't really see us falling at this hurdle. This is out of the 3 games remaining. You'd say that this is the one that we have on lock. It's the Adelaide and the Mariners, which are going to be the problem childs. So I'm backing a win on this one. I just don't see us losing this game unless Talia Yunus pulls out an absolute ripper of a goal, because I think she's capable of it. So don't let her shoot, and I think we've got the win.
Could be the banana skin, right? We beat Central Coast. Everyone will just expect us to walk this, and then we're all looking forward to that Adelaide match, last game of the season. And then, could we slip up? I mean, you'd have to think we wouldn't, because we're a far better side than them. Our record against Wanderers is really good. They rarely do anything against us. And, they're not too strong. They're never too strong, particularly. And the season's no different. So, yeah, but it's going to be a different kind of motivation, I think, for both Brisbane to do this, because I think a lot of players will be. They just got home. They've been over in Sydney for 10 days. They're back. It's just one game to get out of the way before the big game against Adelaide. Very easy to be complacent. So, the job for Bev Priestman and the team there is to just get people focused and remind them that they have to win this, or else no title.
Danny, I need you to touch wood. I needed you to touch wood right now. Otherwise, we're getting Alex to edit that out, because we don't want you to be the jinx here.
So that game is at Porirua Park on Sunday, 4 p.m. kickoff New Zealand time. Let us move on to the men. They played Brisbane, and I believe we had a clean sweep of Brisbane this season for the men. It's the third time we've played them. That is both home and away. This game, there were some pretty big moments early on, and the teams were clearly both very fired up. There was already quite a bit of pushing and shoving. Brisbane do go ahead early, 14th minute. Now, McGarry, of course, it's a former Phoenix player. McGarry plays in a corner. It's not super clear whether it goes straight in from the corner, whether it actually comes off Josh, whether Volcanis actually gets the touch. Either way, we defended that corner very poorly. And as a consequence of that, we conceded. 33rd minute, we played a very unusual corner routine. Instead of pumping it into the mixer, as Smitty would call it, it's played up to Rufer, who he chests it down and then plays this beautiful volley, and it just rattles the crossbar. Goes out for another corner, and they actually play the same ball again. This time someone's come out to him. So he plays the ball, a bit of a cross in. Hughes heads it back over again, and Corbin Piper puts it into the back of the net. Wonderful. Halftime, 1-1, 86th minutes. Eze, inevitable. Now, the subs came too late, so I want to hear what you guys have to say about the subs, because I was just sitting there going, we need to make subs. We need to make subs. 85th minute, they did put on LBS and Lucas Kelly-Hill. And then 1 minute later, Lucas Kelly-Hill puts up a great block. The block just bounces off him to LBS, who just sprints up the field with a dribble and plays an exquisite assist with the outside of his foot perfectly in between the two retreating Roar players for Eze, who has also just a really, really nice finish. So yeah, after a minute of making those subs that maybe they could have been made earlier, I want to hear what you have to say. One win. Good stuff. Erin, would you like to start?
What impact subs, would you say? They come on and basically force that second goal to happen. Lucas with the block, and then Luke with the assist for the goal. And so I guess you could almost say they came at the perfect time, even though they were in the 85th minute. One thing I do have to point out, though, was what is happening with Carlo Armiento. He only came on in the 90 plus 4th minute after Isaac Hughes was bleeding profusely from his head, looking dizzy, stumbling around, and he also wasn't very happy to come off as a sub either. I'd say arguably even more mad about it than Michaela Woods was. But yeah, I think the comms were wondering if Carlo was going to come on, because they thought that he might have had an injury, because he hasn't really featured much recently. Yeah, so that's been interesting to him not start after he kind of had a bit of a good start for us for the at the season. He put 2 past the Roar, I think, the first time we played them. And so to see him only come on in the last couple of minutes of the game was interesting. But yeah, good win. Good. Thank you to the Roar for giving us 9 points this season. I think I don't know what it is about the Roar, but we've just decided that we want a third of our points from them, and we've taken them, and I don't think they're too happy about it. But yeah, it's kind of good to see them get 2 wins in a row. Can we get top 6? Who knows? Mathematically, yes. But it's going to be a long battle for them as well. They also are in the position now where they basically have to win every single game going forward. to have a chance at that top 6. And so hopefully we see them do that. And hopefully we see them win 4 games anyway, just to kind of get the Greeny era off and running. But yeah, I think it's good to get a win here at Suncorp, even though that stadium looked really, really dead and buried on the broadcast.
It was an excellent result to win against a team that's right next to you on the table, away from home. Yeah, brilliant result. The game? Yeah, not so much really. It wasn't good quality, was it? It was 2 teams who aren't the most flash in the league, basically, but both were fighting. Absolutely none of them wanted to lose, and there was, as you say, Brisbane have made a sort of a real point of being a combative and fighting and niggly, if you like, side. And we've got plenty of players who won't back down at all. So it was always going to happen like that. And we also had Fagani as referee, who is renowned for letting the game play. He doesn't let you go down and a touch. You have to fight for the ball, and if you get fouled, he'll give you it. But if you look like you're going to go down, you get a slight touch, you go down, he will not give you it, even if it's a foul. He won't. And I quite like him for that, because it does mean that football is played properly. You have to fight for the ball, and and if you do get fouled, he'll call it, but only if you fought for the ball, and if you fought to stay on your feet, and if you fought to get that ball from him. So, and he had 2 teams that were quite happy to fight. So yeah, there was a lot of boots flying around, there was a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. But that part wasn't the great football. The great football was playing in Brisbane in March in the middle of the afternoon. And so second half, with humidity, runs around 120% up there at that time. So by the second half, everyone had stopped running. No one could run. There was a good 35 minutes that second half. You could have gone away and had a lie down, come back, and you would have missed barely anything at all. So not a great spectacle of football. But as I say, we got the result. We saw some good things there, and we saw some bad things. Obviously, the goal was just calamitous. Again, I don't know what happened. I think he's ducked to let it go over his head. Did he hear a call from behind him? Did Josh call for it and not call for it? Should Josh have called for it? I don't know, but it's just, you see that and you think, it's not going to be our day, is it? But fair play to them. They came back. We played greeny ball, which is pretty compact, no real width. Backs don't get up very much. The pain doesn't get up the pitch much. And orders Dan Edwards, we just keep it compact to the back, and then have Nagasawa and Najareen to move around a bit at the front, and then obviously Piper to cause chaos, and Eze just to do what Eze does. That was enough to stop Brisbane getting too many chances up our end, and Josh recovered to make a couple of good saves, and then we relied on our set piece speciality to score the goal, which we did. It's not the greatest entertaining football, I have to say, but that's what we've won 2 games in a row. Can't really complain about it too much. We are a threat at set pieces. I think we're one of the best in the league at corners. Somehow Corbin Piper gets up to touch pretty much every ball that's in the air. Whether he knows where it's going, I don't know, but he's a danger to everyone when that goes up there. So that's great. And then, second half, as I said, nothing happened. And you're like, okay, everyone's knackered. You can see it. They can't run around anymore. Apart from Eze. Eze continues to run around everywhere, but no one else was running. No one else was doing anything. It was just standing and passing, and there you go. So where are the subs? It was really strange. And I get Greeny's philosophy is like, he wants to give the players as much chance as possible to do good things and not put them in a position where they have to do extreme things. So he just wants them to go, okay, play simple football and you don't make a mistake. But in that kind of heat, surely you've got to bring fresh legs on, because we weren't creating very much. Brisbane were doing better than us in the heat. They were creating more, so we hadn't really created any chances at all. It's like, okay, so I know you want to keep your structure there, but we're not doing anything, so, bring someone else on. And I think he gambled, but he left it really late to gamble. I think he said, okay, well, I'll wait until as long as possible. Then, okay, I'll give it a bit of a go, but only 5 minutes, because I don't want to gamble too much. And I think he would have been perfectly happy with a 1-1 draw. I think he would have considered that a hard-fought, good draw away from home. And to be fair, he would have been right. It would have been. But as fans, we want to see a bit more than that. And we probably were quite happy to gamble a little bit. And when he did gamble, if that's what substituting people who are absolutely knackered off is, which I don't think it is, then it paid off. And, what a great goal to watch. LBS, who again you think would be a great player to bring on because he's so pacey and skillful. And, again, Brisbane were pretty knackered as well. So they're opening it up. Just showed exactly why he did it. Gets the ball, Eze completely outpaces their defence, including players who have just come on, and this is like the 90th minute. That guy's a machine. Outpaces their defenders to get in the position, and then LBS, you think, you've got too much time to think about this, haven't you? You've got too much time. What are you going to do? You're going to go left foot, you're going to put it front, you're going to go for goal. It's just like so many players would be just completely frozen by the number of decisions and options he had to make there. And he just made this beautiful outside of the foot little touch, which I thought at first was going to be, oh no, he's underhit it, but it wasn't. It was absolutely perfect into Eze. And Eze, one-on-one with keepers, doesn't miss, and he didn't. And, and we take the points home, and wow. A really good victory, not a spectacular performance, but, we did what we needed to do.
My question is, was that handball a penalty?
It was handball like Wotton's handball was last week. It was almost identical to that. So I was annoyed we didn't get the penalty last week. And if I was a Brisbane fan, I'd be very annoyed they didn't get a penalty this week. But in our world, that's consistency again.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if it had been given, I would have been okay with that. But I would have been annoyed as a Phoenix fan that we didn't get the Wotton one. I think they really are basically the same thing. And as Greeny said in the post-match presser, you just sort of, you win some, you lose some on that. And he said we've copped some of those handballs and all those calls where it's gone against us. So, I mean, I get that. I think with the Greeny subs, I felt like I was going back to like Uffy ball when like Uffy would just wait until like the 85th minute to make like subs. So I was frustrated with that as well. But yeah, clean sweep we didn't lose a single game to Brisbane, men or women. In fact, we took of 5 games, so possible 15 points, we took 13 off Brisbane. So that was a happy hunting ground for us, even though that women's game where we got the draw, that was very last minute, getting a point out of that. So yeah, love you, Brisbane. We have the All Whites coming up next. So it is the international break, the men's international break, the final one before the World Cup. Those are at home at Eden Park against Finland Friday, March 27th at 7:15 p.m. and against Chile on Monday, March the 30th at 6 p.m. The next game we will have for the Phoenix will be Sunday, April 5th, so Easter weekend. That is Melbourne Victory away, and I believe that will be followed by City away as well. So time to break that Amy Park curse. Time to join Vicnix as well for both of those games. So the Victory game away is 3 p.m. local, 5 p.m. New Zealand time Sunday, April the 5th. I think that Victory are better than us. We are cursed with Amy Park, but you know what? Have a crack. If you can keep one Mata quiet, get Rufus stuck into one Mata and see how we go. Aaron, what do you reckon, Victory?
Yeah, when I said that we needed wins from our last few games, it just sucks that the next 2 of them are at Amy Park. I think City is doable if we ignore the Amy Park, but I think City is a team that we can beat. But man, Victory are just looking good. I think they've just looked better and better every week, and Juan Mata is world class. He no doubt about it. The best player in the league, probably one of the best players the league has really ever had. And yeah, he just plays good football. So, hopefully it's not like the last time we played them there with that absolute bollocking that we got. But yeah, we basically just need wins from here. So hopefully they can break that curse quickly, because we just need the win. Do I think we're going to get the win? That doesn't matter. We need it.
Yeah. All the stats would say we're not going to beat Victory at Amy Park. We probably won't beat City at Amy Park either. So my expectations are pretty low. Any kind of good performance and a bit of attacking football, I will be happy. If we win, it'll be because of something like an Eze masterclass where he scored a hat-trick. But I mean, I guess what we're really looking forward to, I think the entire football world is looking forward, is that finally we can put the question to rest of who is a better footballer, Corbin Piper or Juan Mata. That's the big matchup that we're all looking forward to, and the A-League is looking forward to, and we'll finally see who really is the better player. My money's on Corpse, obviously.
All right, well, tune into the All Whites or head along to Eden Park if you can. And then, yes, those Amy Park matches that are coming up. Now, I mentioned that we had 3 goals this weekend where the assists were incredible with a tidy finish as well. Of the non-assist to Vlock goal, the Vlock assist to Nunn goal or the LBS to Azer goal. How do you rank those? What do you think? Danny?
They were all really good, and they were great goals. My top goal is probably no surprise that I'm out as a bit of an LBS fan, and I would go for that one, mainly because there were so many ways it could have gone wrong. And if it had gone wrong, it would have looked awful. Whereas the other two, if they'd gone wrong, you'd have gone, wow, nice attempt. Fair enough, good attempt, but no one was really expecting it. Whereas LBS, he had to get it right. There were so many ways he could have got it wrong, and he got it exactly right. So that would be my favourite one. Again, just the waiting on it as well, because he knew he's probably had like a second and a half, but in footballing terms, that's a long time. Just watching it going, do it, and then, he does it right. The other two, and I saw obviously we were pretty much right next to Brooke Nunn, where we were when she put the ball in for Pia Vlock, and that was beautiful, just beautiful to see. Sydney had left a huge big gap there, but she just lifted it over really nicely. She's such a technically good player, Brooke Nunn, really impressive. And then the Pia Vlock one, just right across the pitch. But again, had that not happened, we'd have gone, oh, well, it's a good idea, but you weren't really expecting it to happen. Whereas the LBS one, again, just so much was riding on it. Last minute, potentially a winning goal, and so many ways it could have gone wrong. So that's why I like that one the most.
Yeah, I'm with Danny. I think that goal, not only was it kind of the game winner, but it's like the second time that LBS has just torn apart Brisbane on a runaway and, passed the ball off for the assist. That first one he had Houston Salas on the ground as he tried to stop him. And then this one here, he was just away and put that perfect ball through. And so I think, being the time of the game where it happened and the actual play itself, that gets the prize for the best assist this week. But yeah, the other two as well, I think, incredible stuff. That Pia Vlock, Brooke Nunn matchup is just incredibly fun to watch. And you kind of have the youngest player on the team with almost the oldest player on the team, just absolutely tearing people to shreds. And it's so enjoyable. And I'm just so glad that it's come together. It came together earlier in the season. I think every game now we just watch to see those two put some magic on the pitch because, they're capable of it.
Yeah, I think I agree. That the technical execution of LBS is incredible. I did enjoy the vision a lot of the Vlock and Nunn assists, but yeah, they were great. Let us know in the comments if, which one you thought was best. We also, whether you caught it or not, we interviewed Ali Walker earlier, and that came out on Thursday. So if you have not seen our chat with Ali Walker, I highly recommend it. She's a lovely person. We had a really interesting chat. Other than that, we'll be back to chat those 3 matches. We'll see you then.